So today we're talking about three-note interval structures. This is a follow-up to my previous video where I was talking about things I learned from Vic Juris, and we were talking about three-note chord structures and how to use them to harmonize a melody. So today what we're talking about is these same three-note structures and how to voice lead them. What I mean by that is how to connect the different chords smoothly so it sounds good. Okay, so what voice leading is basically is if you think of each note of a chord as being one voice and you want to get from one chord to the next and have each voice move the least amount possible, that's what voice leading is. So I think of it as each voice in a chord or each note in a chord is a person, and that person is lazy and they don't want to move much. So getting from one to the next, if we can keep one the same, if we can keep one note, if there's a common tone between the two chords, we'll keep that note. If there's if we can only move by a step, that's better than moving by a big jump. All right, let's get into it. So we're going to take one interval structure from the last lesson. That was a second and a sixth. If you're unsure about this, just go back and check out the previous video. But we've got a second and a sixth, and we're going to take that through the scale. We'll just review that real quick. So we're going to move each note up the C major scale. This is coming from the C major scale. That's where we started. All right. Now I want you to listen to the top voice. You can kind of hear the melody in there, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to pair that up with another voicing that'll be the second and the fourth, or second and fifth rather, second and fifth. So this one is a second from A to B and then a fifth from B to F. It's a diminished fifth, but it's still fifth. So now let's take that through the scale. Take it back down. Sorry, that last one. There we go. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to voice lead through these two chord shapes by moving just the top note. And then we move the lower notes below it. Now let's take it back down. Playing them separately, playing the top voice and then the lower voices. You can also do that playing them all together, and it would sound like this. Oh, sorry. might be thinking like, okay, now how am I going to use these? They sound cool, but you can actually use them in a lot of different ways. Anytime there's a chord progression that's all within the same key, you can use these chord progressions and kind of float around between them pretty freely. I'm going to show you using a 2-5-1-6 chord progression in the key of C major. So it would be D minor 7, G7, C major 7 to A minor 7. And I'm going to use this idea of moving between these voicings and see what we can come up with. I'm just going to improvise around with it. All right, here we go. So I wasn't necessarily thinking about what chord it was or what chord this would make if I was playing this over a D. I wasn't thinking like D minor 13, which I guess is what it would be. Root 7th, root again, and then 13. It's kind of an ambiguous chord. It doesn't have a third. But in context, that's probably what you would call it. Yeah, again, with that, it doesn't necessarily have a name, but in context, it would function as like a D minor 9 with a 13 or something like that, if it was over a D. Even though it's really like a sus2 sort of thing. But we don't have to get into that. It's just outlining the overall harmony that's going on. So, as a practice assignment, what I would recommend doing is take two structures. I like to do I think a good place to start is the 2nd and 5th, and 2nd and 6th, and move the top note up 1, and then follow it by the lower notes, keeping the top note the same. And then move the top note, move the lower notes. Move the top note, move the lower notes. Top note, lower notes. Top note, lower notes. Or top note, lower notes. Top note, lower notes. There we go. That's about it for now. I will have a PDF of this linked in the description. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how to use these over a pedal tone. Because that's where you can get pretty free with these. And these ideas really, really shine through. So I'll see you on the next video next week. And I hope you enjoy this and take it easy.